and the Autoimmune Lifestyle. And this is Did You Know? We're coming to you from the Darby Wind Cave. And we're on the Driggs side, and this is water coming out of the cave from the Jackson Hole side. And actually is the snow melt from that side of the mountain that comes through cave system. And we're here today to talk to you about the X Chromosome and the article Epigenetics and the Autoimmune Diseases, the X Chromosome Nucleolus Nexus. And one reason why women get autoimmune disease so much more than the guys is because of the X chromosome. Women have 2 copies, guys have 1 X, 1 Y, and that is a problem. Now, there's so many bad genes on the X chromosome. Now, we've talked before about epigenetics. You got to turn off the bad genes, turn on the good genes, and there's a lot of bad genes, including a ton of bad genes on the X chromosome. So in order for women to be optimally healthy, they have to turn off 85% of all the information on the second X chromosome. Now, the body is so smart. Our chromosomes, X chromosome's one of them, are in the nucleus of all our cells. But in order to protect the cell, the X chromosome gets shoved way to the periphery of the nucleus. Kind of get that bad dude way out away from where the action is, all the other chromosomes. So when the cells have to divide, you have to separate one set of chromosome into 2 for each of the new cells. So the X chromosome is the last cell to be divided as cells are dividing, to be replicated. Now, methylation reactions. This is how broccoli, cauliflower, and kale, all the cruciferous vegetables are so important because they have great methyl groups. Now, I personally like methylplex B from Numedica, a fully methylated B complex with a methyl donor called trimethylglycine or betaine as the more common name. Now, why would we want to have these methyl groups? Well, one reason is because in order to take toxins from our system that are stuck in the fat stores, all the fat-soluble toxins, and make them water-soluble so we can poop and pee and sweat them out, you got to put a methyl group on them. You also have to methylate your DNA, your genes, if you're going to turn off the bad and turn on the good. But when the cells are kind of not really keeping up with the methylation, the very last chromosome to be replicated, the X chromosome, doesn't have enough methyl groups to divide, and instead it gets injured, dinged, and there are dents and rents and errors in the replication. Now, you get bad groups. Now also, the X chromosome is so tightly packed because you don't want it to open up and get red. It's so tightly packed. But when you open up in order to replicate, you have all these methyl groups that have to shut it back down again before you replicate bad parts of the gene. But also, these things called scaffold attachment factors. Scaffold attachment factor A has to come from the cytoplasm into the nucleus to pack it back down together. You need methyl groups for that too. Now, unfortunately, the X chromosome gets shoved way to the periphery, yay, but it's right next to the nucleolus. And that is basically the factory of these cells that makes all the cells neat. Great idea to have it out there, but bad idea to have it right next to the short arm of the X chromosome, because that's where all the bad X chromosome genes are for the most part. And so when a viral infection, like Epstein-Barr virus or other kind of infections, get into the nucleolus, because they want to go to the factory. If these infections want to get their proteins made and let themselves replicate, they go where the action is, they go to the factory. They also make the factory get bigger. It swells, because a bigger factory can make more stuff that the bugs want to make us sick. It engulfs the small arm of the X chromosome. Thus, it starts making all these terrible genes on the X chromosome. That is not good. This is one reason why they say for like lupus, there's not one gene for lupus. It's not like a genetic thing. But when this happens and you're making all these genes from the small arm of the X chromosome, now you got millions of genes. So rather than one gene causing lupus, you got millions of genes causing lupus. Thus, one of the worst proteins on that short arm of the X chromosome, the Aloo Protein, in people with lupus, the little bits of DNA that get into our bloodstream from these cells from the nucleus, 55% of all the nuclear DNA in the blood of lupus patients is this Aloo protein, a terribly toxic protein. You need to methylate all these processes to make them not happen if you want to stay healthy. Now, this is also why so many autoimmune diseases are more women than men. So they also mentioned this great thing. They took a group of 75 adults who had children with 75 adults with rheumatoid arthritis that had children with rheumatoid arthritis. The men that had rheumatoid arthritis, there was 22 of them that had children with rheumatoid arthritis. 21 out of 21 of their children with rheumatoid arthritis were girls. Only one was a boy. Women, they took 53 women with rheumatoid arthritis that had children with rheumatoid arthritis. 40 of them were girls. Only 13 were men. Ooh, man, that is a big X chromosome connection with autoimmune disease. In order to stop all that, you gotta methylate. You gotta eat your cruciferous vegetables or take Methylplex B. Now, this is going to be in the advanced scientific course, and we're going to talk more about this, but I wanted to share this with you right now because it is so important. You got to turn off the bad and turn on the good when it comes to genes. Thank you. We'll talk soon. Bye now.